What's up, everybody? Welcome to FoundFlix. On this Ending Explained, we're checking out Hard Eyes, where a masked maniac with glowing red eyes returns every Valentine's Day to terrorize unsuspecting couples. Now, horror and romance obviously go together, but it's not as often you see a movie that really tries to go for a traditional romantic comedy plus horror. And well, that's Hard Eyes. It features so many elements plucked directly from romantic comedies, but the problem is it never successfully transcends the cliche. It also doesn't quite balance the romance and horror angles well, with the more romantic elements grinding the story repeatedly to a halt. Now, it's not all bad. Fortunately, the leading couple actually have some chemistry, and there are some quite gruesome and memorable kills. Too bad the killer itself is also pretty bland, with not much to the character at all. The director said that he was inspired by Jason Lives, and I really don't see it. It's just another mass murder with a crossbow, nothing more. I just wish it had overall found a better balance between its various subgenres. But ultimately, that is the typical feeling I have when I watch mainstream horror nowadays. It's just kind of meh. So let's check out Hard Eyes, breaking down the story, including the killer's identity and motivation, as well as explaining the ending. Love is in the air in our opening as a couple in a gorgeous vineyard are getting engaged. But things aren't quite so picture perfect. The girl complains when she nearly chokes on the ring hidden in a piece of fruit. And when the guy takes a knee to go through his proposal, she mouths along with the words as though she already knows it verbatim, which makes things ring a bit false. It feels even more so when they get a ring from a photog posted in the bushes telling them that he missed the shot. So the couple reenact the proposal to hopefully get it this time. They play act through the proposal, making it faker than ever, and check in once more. We get the photo. Before he can answer, a crossbow bolt pierces right through the shutterfly's eye. The newly minted fiancé next feels the killer's wrath via another bolt through the neck. We meet the so-called hard-eyed killer, appropriately with two big hard eyes stitched into a leather mask. That's about it. Oh, and they use a crossbow featuring little hearts on the back. Cute. Killer Cupid style. She hoofs it to a winemaking facility and tries to get a security guard's help, but the killer makes quick work of him. Rather than leave, she elects to hide in a giant grape crusher. Heck discovers her inside and makes the best of it by activating the machinery. The walls close in and crushes the woman into a fine paste, even popping out an eyeball. Don't get too excited because there's like 3 kills in the whole movie. Then via several news reports, we learn the heart-eyed killer has been behind several killings in previous years in Boston and Philly, and on Valentine's Day, of course. To go even further, they do specifically target couples on the most romantic of days, although they note they will kill anyone in their way. So yeah, stay home on Valentine's Day. It has caused a kind of panic out in the world when it comes to that day, with couples all worried they could become HEK's latest victim. A pair of detectives, played by Devon Sawa and Jordana Brewster, actually named Hobbs and Shaw in a strange reference to the Fast and Furious franchise. Sure, why not? They arrive at the scene of the wine crushing and aren't exactly sure that it is the start of another round of murders by the hard-eyed killer, even though there is a display left out of flowers in a heart shape with the lady's heart right in the middle. Yeah, I'm thinking that's our guy. There's some banter between the detectives regarding dating, and Brewster complains of her prospects on dating apps. There's just no good men out there. She has her own strange theory regarding the killer's MO, believing this goes beyond just murder, but it is actually their kink. Yes, heck has resurfaced now in Seattle, kicking off another series of Valentine's Day killings. Poor Allie has her own romantic troubles and pines over her ex-boyfriend who constantly updates his profile featuring his new gal. That's gotta sting. Although that could all change when she has a meet cute with a hunky-doo Jay at a coffee shop in a moment plucked right from any romantic comedy. It all starts when they have the exact same coffee order. What a coincidence, they both think. But the barista bursts their bubble. That's a pretty normal one, actually. They fumble through some awkward introductions and manage to bonk each other in the head twice, the second time resulting in a bloody nose for Jay. It's quite silly, but, charming enough. He actually does seem interested in Allie, but she, as we learn, has quite a wall up and rebuffs his advances. Why? Why do you hate love, Allie? Well, we do get to find out in some especially drawn-out scenes later. Hooray! Heck's return has unexpected consequences for Allie's job, working in the advertising department of a jewelry company. Well, that certainly is specific. Her latest campaign is already in quite poor taste, featuring various doomed couples like Romeo and Juliet, Jack and Rose from Titanic, or Bonnie and Clyde. And we know how things turn out for all those couples. That's an already bizarre and inappropriate way to try and sell jewelry, but is especially so in the wake of the murders. Now they gotta retool the whole campaign ASAP. Even though isn't today specifically Valentine's Day? Isn't that the whole point? Probably should have started on that campaign before the biggest day that people buy that kind of stuff. Know what I'm saying? Or is it for next year? Anyway, they need it done, and it looks like Allie might lose her job thanks to this blunder. Kind of might deserve it, actually. They call in a last-minute Hail Mary to lend her a hand, and it's none other than, guess who? Yep, hunky coffee guy Jay. He isn't interested in getting her fired, and continues his romantic pursuit of her despite her obvious reluctance. Jay reframes things a bit and invites her to dinner later that evening to discuss the pitch book for the project, of course. She wants to push out the meeting, but no such luck. He's got an early morning flight. It has to be tonight. Allie mulls over her feelings with her friend Monica, who of course encourages her to seize on the opportunity. Thanks to another rom-com convention, that of a lengthy dress-up sequence where they try out several outfits, Allie relents to at least go to dinner. Jay continues making everything feel quite date-like, ordering champagne and waxing about romance. They do both get to know each other a little better, and Allie does open up just a little bit. However, in the end, she lets him down that she doesn't want to date him. Jay ultimately decides to take his leave, and well, you can't really blame him. She feels guilty and chases him down into the streets and seems to change her mind, planting a big ol' smooch on him. We then see the real motivation behind this action as they have bumped into her ex-boyfriend along with his new gal pal. It was all for show. He plays along with her and they pretend that they are dating to make him jealous or something. The guy comes off as incredibly smarmy and is surprised to hear that she's moved on. Well, I don't blab about it on social media, she shoots back. He seems completely unfazed by all of this, and surprisingly we learn they were actually friends with the couple killed in the opening. In fact, they were supposed to be joining them for dinner this very evening. Yeah, just because they died, I mean, we still gotta eat, right? You know? Had a reservation or whatever. As they head inside, he douchely calls after for the pair to not get killed. Yeah, thanks. Seems better off without that a-hole anyway, Allie. Jay offers her a ride, and perhaps there is a spark of romance there after all. She'd rather be dropped at her place, and does invite him inside. There they both open up more, bonding over each other dressing up as Pikachu when they were kids. Now word from this week's sponsor, DraftKings. Buffalo! Everyone's favorite slot game is live on DraftKings Casino! Hit the reels wherever and whenever to play for Wild Western wins. New players can play $5 to get a spin on the mystery wheel for a shot at up to 2,000 in casino credits. Download the app and sign up with code ENDING. Join the stampede with Buffalo on DraftKings Casino now. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. One per new customer. Play $5 and spin wheel to receive between $10 and $2,000 in non-withdrawable casino credits for select games that expire in 168 hours. Terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends February 16th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Allie reveals at least part of her issue regarding romance. Her parents were madly in love. They had the perfect relationship, but it all came crashing down when her dad died and her mother never recovered. This is why she is so jaded about love. For Jay, it's kind of the opposite. His parents were constantly fighting, and he escaped into the belief that storybook romance must be somewhere out there in the world. Wow, they couldn't be more different. But maybe that's just exactly what the doctor ordered. Dr. Love. I don't know. What am I doing? They are quite rudely interrupted when Allie opens her closet and finds Heck waiting for her. And Allie uses his belt to keep the door closed. It doesn't last long and she rushes outside, leaving Jay behind. She makes her way to a weird carnival farmer's market kind of thing and hides on a carousel. The lights all kick on and the carousel swings to life. Heck surprises her, chasing her between the horses. She is able to fend him off, kicking him mightily. She's overpowered and the killer is just about to take her out until the cops show up and save the day. The killer leaving her for now. She's worried about the injured Jay and is surprisingly told that he's been arrested. They suspect he is the killer due to some stuff left behind at the scene of the crime. She tries to explain how that's impossible, but they won't listen. She tries to at least clear things up with Jay, but he just stares forward stoically from the backseat of the cop car. She points out he's a lot bigger and stuff. You can fend for yourself. I'm a tiny little lady. Don't worry about it. Feeling responsible for this outcome, and after more deliberation, she heads to the police station to hopefully help him out. It's not not long until the killer shows up, plunging the station into darkness. Sawa maneuvers through the halls and is quickly and unceremoniously slashed to death by the killer. As for Brewster, she mysteriously disappears as soon as the lights cut out. Well, no big deal. Allie finds Jay locked up, and she is able to save him thanks to keys and a piece from Sawa's corpse. At some point, still fleeing from Heck, they happen upon a drive-in screening of His Girl Friday. They find an unlocked van amongst the moviegoers and hole up in the front seat. The van isn't exactly empty though, as the amorous owners are getting frisky in the back. They don't even care about the intruders and continue on with their dirty work. Jay and Allie get back to their discussion of romance, and it's heartfelt and serious as usual, but the incessant noises really kind of ruin the moment. I don't know if this was supposed to be funny or what, but it's just weird. They're all being serious and you're just like, in the background the whole time. Again, all these heart-to-heart scenes are really long, so we seriously have minutes of them talking with these groans in the background. As the couple continues their coitus, the young lady's moans get quite loud. Worried they could draw Heck's attention, the pair plead with her to pipe down, but she only gets louder. Within moments, Heck is there and flings open the doors. He makes quick work of the couple with a tire iron, jamming it right through the lady's mouth. They exit the van, and the killer causes some chaos, chopping his way through the crowd. Jay and Allie almost split the scene, but decide to double back and maybe stop Heck, since he came there because of them in the first place. Kinda your fault. Impressively, they work together, and using that same tire iron manage to put the killer down. It's time for the big reveal. Who is behind the mask? Jay removes it, and both are baffled, wondering who the fuck is that? Yeah, good question. It's just some random dude, it looks like. With the ordeal seemingly behind them, Jay appropriately asks if Allie wants to come celebrate their victory. Even after all that and their mini conversation, she still turns him down. Alright then. The mysteriously returned Brewster is there to give him a lift, and the pair say their final goodbyes. In the aftermath of their harrowing experience, Allie discusses everything once more with her friend, and finally she changes her tune. She doesn't want to lose him after all. So she rushes to the airport to hopefully catch Jay before his flight in another classic rom-com moment. Nancy Myers is gonna be disappointed though, as she arrives at the airport and gets a call. The disguised voice informs her they have Jay, and they leave her an address to come and get him, setting the stage for the final showdown. Allie arrives at a decrepit church, and the killer takes the stage with Jay as his captive. Heck removes their mask, and it's Dan! Wait, who was that again? Well, he was in one scene earlier. He apparently matched with Allie on a dating app, and she turned him down. Again, he was in one brief scene before this big reveal. And it's not personal either, as we're not done yet. There is another killer in the midst, none other than Brewster. She is the true heart of the hard-eyed killer. Yeah, could have seen that coming from a mile away. In fact, the Heck is made up of 3 people. Dan and Brewster are a couple. It is their kink, as she mentioned at the beginning, to stalk and murder couples on Valentine's Day. As for that other dude, he was a super fan of Heck, and the trio were in a throuple of sorts, but ultimately he was expendable in their eyes. We then flash back throughout the night, seeing various moments where each took the killer's place. They all respectively donned the costumes and did various dirty deeds. Even though the killer's build never changes at all, and literally none of the trio are the right physique for the stunt guy. I mean, come on, it's like the ending of Scream 4 all over again. Emma Roberts is this big. You're telling me these pipsqueaks are throwing people around and overpowering people? I don't think so. I also am not a fan of these kinds of twists that have no real foundation laid in the story. Just kind of comes out of nowhere and isn't satisfying whatsoever. Then there's the actual logistics of how this would have to actually work. So the couple were responsible for 2 previous killing sprees the previous 2 years. That means they would have to kill those people, pack up their lives, and move to a new state where both would get jobs working on the police force. It's not like she can just show up one day and become a detective, you know. Take some time to get to that position. Yet it never raised any red flags at all when she applied in Seattle. Oh, you were in both of the sites of the previous murders? Maybe Dan uses IT skills to change your file or something? I don't know. They certainly didn't mention anything like that. Regardless, the whole thing is incredibly sloppy. Even if she wasn't a cop, it would have been a lot easier to accept all this nonsense, essentially. Anyway, Allie and Jay are able to contend with the actual killers. Brewster gets Allie's metal straw on her neck and is then impaled on a statue sword. Jay turns the killer's weapon against him, killing him with one of his signature crossbow bolts. Thanks to their efforts in ending the Hex reign of terror, the new couple are heralded as heroes. They do finally start dating and work together to save the big campaign. A happy ending for all. Except for everyone that died. That'll do it for this Ending Explained for Hard Eyes. But don't forget, you can send me requests for movies you'd like to see me explain by sending them my way on any of my social media accounts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.